Welcome to India's first of its kind study on female domestic workers. Unlike other studies in this area, this research was done from the perspective of employers instead of domestic workers.
There are a lot of studies in India about domestic workers, about their working conditions, about migration patterns, where they come from, etc. But this is one of the few that has been done on employers' perspective. So I think in that sense it's very, very important.
The shift in focus from supply to the demand side broke new grounds and threw up many surprises.
In 40% of the cases, they did not know what the caste of the worker was.
The employers are more in need of domestic workers, and they think that domestic workers are very demanding nowadays.
More formalization is taking place in the domestic work sector.
There is some attempt to capture at the work site where it is most critical. Most of the vulnerabilities, insecurities that the workers encounter is at that stage. So this is the best thing that the study has done.
Before we take you through the findings of the research project, here's a sense of how this research was conducted. Across the metropolitan cities of Delhi and Mumbai, over 6,000 middle and upper class households were systematically listed to ascertain how many of these hire domestic workers. Study findings revealed close to 90% of the employers hire part-time workers and only 10% opt for live-ins. The pressures of urbanization, space constraints, trust deficit, and desire for one's own freedom go against live-ins in metropolitan cities. The project examined three main questions concerning all three categories of domestic workers: part-time, full-time live-in, and full-time live-outs. How do employers recruit domestic workers, and what are the opportunities of change? How do employers perceive skills and what changes they desire for greater convenience? And are the employers aware that domestic work is a legitimate labor market activity? Getting access to people's homes for answers to these questions posed many challenges.
The nature of questions is very private and very personal. Asking questions like, what do you think about caste and how do you treat your worker and what do you think this kind of work is? These are very personal questions, and they don't really elicit the kind of answers that you are expecting. So you will have to come up with very creative and different kind of questioning.
Those who did open up provided some very interesting insights into the minds of the employers. Results of the field survey indicate emergence of some new trends as well as affirm the continuance of some old ones. Based on majoritarian response to the survey, study reveals demand for domestic workers is rising steadily. But domestic work is not seen as a legitimate labor market activity.
This sector still is named as unorganized sector, informal sector, so to say. Although the number of workers is huge and they contribute in a big manner to GDP also in the country and towards the economic prosperity of the country also.
There are no clearly defined contracts of employment, as the nature of relationship between employers and workers is very personal. This is particularly true in case of full-time workers, both live-in and live-out. Many employers with live-ins claim to treat their workers as part of the family, yet not pay them minimum wages or provide social security, health insurance, etc. Feudalistic approach that defines this sector is fading, but at a very slow pace.
It's often argued that you can't really formalize domestic work and that therefore there's no point even trying. That's completely wrong. And if you look at not just developed societies, but a whole range of developing societies in Latin America, for example, Ecuador, Argentina, they've gone quite a long way in formalizing domestic work. So essentially what you need is political will and social will.
One of the most significant findings of the research is that barriers like caste, religion, and language are giving away. Employers now lay more emphasis on attributes like work ethics and efficiency. This trend is more dominant in Delhi than Mumbai.
One of our findings, in fact, which also shows that the labor market formation is gradually happening in the urban metropolitan cities. When we find employers talking more about the attitude of the workers or the worker traits of the workers. They wanted tidy workers, they wanted clean workers, they wanted efficient workers, they were bothered about punctuality.
In both cities, employers prefer younger workers, except in specific cases like caring for elderly.
The other major issue that is coming up these days from the demand side is having young girls as domestic workers. And the preference is because they are more active.
Process of hiring domestic workers underlines the highly informal nature of the sector. Most employers steer clear of hiring live-ins. Fear of being cheated and instances of bad experiences among employers are big deterrents for hiring them. Demand for part-time domestic workers, on the other hand, is very high, and they are trusted more as they are locals. In the household survey for the study, 88% of all domestic workers reported as part-time workers. 74% of surveyed employers hired domestic workers for cleaning the house. 73% hired them for washing utensils. 33% for washing clothes. 17% hired them for cooking, 3% for childcare, and 1% for care of sick. Domestic workers are mostly hired through informal channels like network of friends and acquaintances.
It's neighbors, friends, relatives, people you trust, people whose opinion you trust. People don't have trust on the other identity checks and the other kind of police security checks that have been put in place.
Formal channels of placement agencies are seen as more expensive and less trustworthy. Most agencies charge either a one-time annual commission or a part of salary amount as a monthly commission, which employers find very steep. Hiring locally, on the other hand, is much cheaper. Interestingly, for hiring full-time live-in workers or hiring for specific requirements like caring for children, employers in both cities prefer placement agencies. Some employers also take the route of hiring from remote villages through informal or semi-formal agencies without proper procedures. In such cases, both employers as well as the domestic workers are open to exploitation and abuse with limited recourse to protection. Bringing in basic regulations in such cases will benefit both the parties.
Informally, the Labour Department also should have some kind of registration of these kind of workers, and then help them to get the jobs, because at present it is only on their own relationships with their relatives or that social networking which they have from their village, which puts them into this market.
Differences between three categories of domestic workers, full-time live-in, full-time live-out, and part-timers are most visible in wages and bargaining capacity of the workers. Part-timers are in a better position to bargain as they charge money per task. There is also a very clear segregation of work in this category. Some workers only do certain categories of work, while others will not undertake certain work categories. Chores like nursing, childcare, and cooking fetch more wages, while washing clothes, cleaning dishes, and mopping and cleaning form the lower end of the spectrum. This segregation is not so well defined for full-time live-out workers and almost non-existent for full-time live-ins who